My first Germans, the beginning of July, with no experience at all. I flew 141 times in 16 weeks. And
Ever wondered what weapons had the power to reshape nations during World War II? Which creations struck paralyzing fear into the hearts of soldiers and civilians alike? The Second World War saw the birth of deadly innovations that not only turned the tide of battles, but also changed the course of history. From roaring fighter planes to the eerily silent but devastating atom bomb, these weapons redefined warfare. Ready to dive deep into the arsenals that left an indelible mark on our world? Hold tight, it's a journey like no other. Number 5. The T34 Tank, a game-changer on the battlefield. In the fierce crucible of World War II, one piece of machinery roared its presence louder than many others, the T34 Tank. A masterstroke of Soviet engineering, it revolutionized tank warfare, becoming a titan of its time, and it left a lasting imprint on how tanks were designed, studied, and revered. Now, let's dial back a bit. Picture the world of armored warfare before the T-34 tank rolled out. The landscape was defined by tanks with their standard-issue weaponry and conventional armor. But the T-34 was anything but standard. It hit the scene equipped with a beastly 76.2mm high-velocity gun. This wasn't just any gun, it was a weapon that redefined firepower. The shell's speed and impact made the T-34 a nightmare for its adversaries. As if this wasn't enough, the tank was draped in sloped armor. This design wasn't just for looks, it made the tank virtually impenetrable to the common anti-tank weapons of that era. The T-34 wasn't just built for battle, it was built to dominate. But here's where things get even more fascinating. As the war evolved, so did the German machinery. Facing newer and mightier German tanks, the Soviets decided they needed an upgrade. Enter the T-34-85 in 1944. This bad boy packed an even larger 85mm gun. The message was clear. The Soviets were not just keeping up with the arms race, they were leading it. The sheer numbers tell a compelling story too. Around 80,000 T-34s thundered across the battlefields, even as the harsh realities of war claimed thousands of them. When you factor in that this was the most produced tank of World War II and the second most of all time, trailing only its successor, the T-54-55 series, you realize the magnitude of its impact. It wasn't just a vehicle, it was a declaration of intent, a statement of prowess, and an undeniable force on the battlefield. Number 4. The MG-42, Hitler's lethal symphony on the battlefield. Unleashed upon the battlefields of World War II, the MG-42 wasn't just another firearm, it was an emblem of terror. Known as Hitler's buzzsaw by those unfortunate enough to be on its receiving end, its blistering fire rate of roughly 1,200 rounds per minute transformed warfare. Allied soldiers would tense up at its fearsome, rapid-fire roar, a clear indicator that this wasn't an ordinary machine gun. Born from necessity, the MG-42 was Germany's response to the expensive and time-consuming MG-34. With war pressing on all fronts, the Germans opted for ingenuity. They crafted a weapon using stamped metal, slashing production time and costs. The genius lay not just in its economics but in its design. Think about a barrel overheating in the thick of battle. The MG-42 allowed for an almost instantaneous swap, ensuring the relentless stream of bullets hardly paused. Whether perched on a bipod, mounted on vehicles, or steadied on a tripod, this weapon was adaptable. From rudimentary iron sights to sophisticated telescopic ones, the MG-42 met every challenge. Its influence was felt far and wide, beyond the territories captured by the Nazis. From the sun-baked landscapes of North Africa to the freezing expanses of the Eastern Front, the MG-42 made its mark. Its design genius did not go unnoticed. Post-war, countries like Italy and Yugoslavia saw merit in its design, tweaking it to their needs. Its legacy? Echoes of the MG42 can be found in the designs of several iconic machine guns, including America's M60 and Belgium's MAG. Now, beyond its mechanics and design, the MG42 was a masterclass in battlefield dominance. Imagine a wall of bullets so thick that advancing seemed impossible. That was the MG42 in its prime, a machine gun that didn't just fire but dominated, proving lethal in defensive setups, making bunkers and trenches impregnable fortresses. Yet for all its prowess, the MG42 is a somber reminder. Superpower firepower, while daunting, isn't the sole decider of wars. The Allies, despite facing such formidable weaponry, emerged victorious. Number 3. Katyusha rocket launcher, the roving rain of destruction. The roaring sounds of rockets firing often left a trail of destruction and dread in World War II. These weren't just any rockets, they were from the Katyusha rocket launcher, a game-changing artillery piece introduced by the Soviet Union. Simple in design yet ruthlessly effective, the Katyusha could unleash multiple rockets in quick succession, ensuring chaos and devastation over vast enemy areas. While individual rockets weren't known for their pinpoint accuracy, when launched together they blanketed a zone, making escape almost impossible. Often, the very mention of this weapon struck fear. The Nazis, facing its fury, likened the horrifying sounds of its rockets to an organ's music. They called it Stalin's organ. On the Soviet side, however, it bore a different sentiment. Named after a heartfelt Soviet song, Katyusha, which told the tale of a woman longing for her beloved away at war, it served as a poignant reminder of what they were fighting for: love, homeland, and a return to peace. When the Katyusha made its battlefield debut in 1941 at the Battle of Smolensk, it wasn't just the firepower, but the sheer surprise and ensuing panic that gave the Soviets an edge. German troops, hardened by many battles, found themselves unnerved by this unforeseen adversary. As the war raged on, the Katyusha solidified its reputation in legendary confrontations, be it during the grim days of the Siege of Leningrad, the brutal Battle of Stalingrad, the pivotal Battle of Kursk, or the relentless Battle of Berlin. It's a challenging endeavor to calculate the precise impact of the Katyusha in terms of casualties. However, estimates suggest that this relentless barrage of rockets claimed tens of thousands of lives, both military and civilian. Such was its effectiveness that even nations allied with the Soviet Union, from China to Czechoslovakia, incorporated Katyushas into their arsenals. While World War II eventually came to an end, the legacy of the Katyusha did not. Engineers and military strategists saw the potential to enhance this machine of war. It evolved, leading to the creation of formidable successes like the BM-21 Grad and the BM-30 Smerch. To this day, the term Katyusha is synonymous with multiple rocket launchers, an ode to a weapon that, in its time, redefined battlefield dynamics. Number 2. Hawker Hurricane, Britain's aerial vanguard. Stepping onto the global stage in the turbulent years leading up to World War II, the Hawker Hurricane is an unsung hero to aviation history. Designed by the genius Sidney Cam and masterfully crafted by Hawker Aircraft Limited, this was a fighter that didn't just break barriers, it smashed them. Clocking in at over 300 miles per hour, its speed was unprecedented for the RAF. And with 8 robust wing-mounted machine guns, it wasn't just fast, it was furious. While many sing praises of the Supermarine Spitfire, it's the Hurricane that truly deserves a standing ovation. You see, compared to the Spitfire, the Hurricane was the trusty workhorse, simpler to produce, easier to maintain, and built to take a hit and keep soaring. Its stability made it an assassin in the skies, perfect for taking out enemy bombers. Now, consider this. During the pivotal Battle of Britain, a staggering 60% of the RAF's air triumphs were credited to the Hurricane. That's over 1,500 enemy aircraft sent spiraling downwards thanks to this machine. But its prowess wasn't limited to European skies. Whether in the Mediterranean sun, the Middle East heat, the Far East humidity, or the biting cold of the Eastern Front, the Hurricane stamped its authority. It wasn't just a fighter, it adapted, proving valuable in bomber raids, ground attacks, and naval operations. Even torrid tropical conditions couldn't thwart it. Embodying British tenacity against overwhelming adversaries, the Hurricane was more than metal and machinery, it was a beacon of hope. Pilots of legendary stature, from Douglas Bader to Witold Urbanovic, trusted their lives with it. Its reach was global, serving allies from Canada to Australia. Even Winston Churchill, a man of words, was almost at a loss for them, proclaiming the Hurricane as vital to Britain's triumph against the Nazi menace. Peeling back the layers of its legacy, the Hurricane's impact reverberates even now. Its brilliant designer Sidney Cam didn't stop there. He went on to mold marvels like the Hawker Hunter and the Hawker Harrier. Its heart, the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, became the lifeblood of other legends like the Spitfire and the Lancaster bomber. Its metal wings sprouted aerodynamic advances, and its time in torrid zones sparked enhancements for aircraft in challenging climbs. Its ground attack endeavors even shaped modern close air support tactics. The Hawker Hurricane's tale is one of endurance, a tale not just of an aircraft, but of innovation, adaptability, and unyielding spirit. Number 1. Atom Bomb, the alarming pinnacle of war technology. There are weapons that change the course of battles, and then there are those that change the course of history. Topping the list of the latter is the atom bomb from World War II, an innovation as awe-inspiring in its technological marvel as it was chilling in its catastrophic impact. What's breathtaking is how this monumental weapon remained shrouded in secrecy. Dubbed the Manhattan Project, this covert operation began in 1942. Scientists and engineers, including luminaries from the US, Britain, and Canada, worked relentlessly under the leadership of J. Robert Oppenheimer. The day of reckoning for their efforts came on July 16, 1945, near Alamogordo, New Mexico, with the first successful atomic test, intriguingly named Trinity. Then there's President Harry S. Truman. Faced with the heavy responsibility of how to deploy this new weapon, he hoped for a swift end to the war, preventing further loss of life through a potential invasion of Japan. Japan had held firm, even as the Allies' victories mounted. But Truman's motivations also had a strategic edge, showcasing US dominance and sending a clear message to the Soviet Union. Then came the day that changed everything. August 6, 1945, the skies over Hiroshima saw the descent of Little Boy from the B-29 bomber Enola Gay. The aftermath? A city almost wiped off the map, and an immediate death toll reaching around 80,000. But the horror didn't end there. Nagasaki became the next target just 3 days later. The B-29 bomber Bockscar unleashed Fat Man, obliterating a significant part of the city and instantly killing another estimated 40,000. The aftershocks of these bombings were not merely physical, they reshaped geopolitics and thrust humanity into the nuclear age. Amidst the ruins and radiation, the bombings forced Japan's hand, resulting in their surrender on August 15, 1945, and bringing the curtains down on World War II. Yet, as the dust settled, the world was left grappling with questions that transcended the war, ethical, political, and moral boundaries about wielding such immense power. The atomic age wasn't just about a weapon, it is about humanity's choices in its darkest hours. And there you have it, a glimpse into the fearsome tools that shaped an era. As we step back from our deep dive into history, it's crucial to remember the lessons these weapons have imparted. The fusion of human ingenuity and raw power is awe-inspiring, but with it comes an undeniable responsibility. What will our generation be remembered for? Destruction or creation? After all, it's not just about the tools we create, but how we choose to use them. What are your thoughts about it? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next one.